So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forward. So, this afternoon, I'm delighted we have with us Clive Berry, who's Managing Director at Slaiyburn Financial Planning. Clive, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your business to the audience, what you do and how you help people, that would be great.
Fine, Chris. Thank you very much. Well, Slaiyburn Financial Planning came into existence about 6 years ago. Since then, we've grown the business quite rapidly. We're a team of 5 advisors, plus a mortgage advisor, protection advisor. We cover the most of northeast and north west of England, middle England, if you like.
Yep.
On what we do everything that you'd expect from an independent financial advice company. That includes mortgages and protection, right the way through to equity release and to simple savings plan for everybody. That's one of the messages that we like to get across, is that really the financial planning that we do is for everybody. Yes. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to come knocking on our door. It helps if you are, but it doesn't matter if you're not.
Brilliant. It's great to hear, because I completely agree. Everyone needs a plan. Financially, if they're a business owner, need a business plan. We need to have an idea where we want to get to and how we're going to get there. So
absolutely. I mean, a lot of people, they start out in life and off they go. And they don't know where they're going to end up. And, another financial planner used to say to me, he said that if people can't see the goal, they're never going to hit it. And what we try to do is try and identify where a person wants to be at a given time in their life and help them get them there. So it's about helping people realize their ambitions as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. So Clive, maybe if we sort of start a little bit, you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into business and why this particular one, that would be great.
Okay. I got into this business about 30 odd years ago. I worked with the CIS, which was at that particular time the cooperative insurance company.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go knocking on doors and collecting 3 bob a week and stuff like that, and putting in a book and everything like that. And that was a good introduction to the market, actually, because particularly with the CIS being a home service company, you got yourself talking to people, in front of people, which is very important, of course. And the freedom that the CIS offered you at that particular time was to be able to sign off on certain claims. So you got a broad range of products that we've sold, from caravan insurance, buildings and contents, car insurance, right the way through to investments. The investments were pretty one-dimensional, but they were pretty good investments at the time. From there, I worked abroad a while in various locations doing financial planning for 12 and a half years. Came back, had to get requalified up to the RDR standards and diploma levels and things like that, which came into place while I was away. And then through that, worked for a couple of companies here before starting Slaiyburn Financial Planning, as I said, 6 years ago. And now being directly authorised, I mean, it is a big advantage to a client, I believe, to be talking to somebody who is totally independent with the whole of market in front of them, rather than somebody who sits in a bank or works for a network who has got a very limited range of products.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And where you said you worked overseas, whereabout? What sort of?
Well, I worked. First of all, I was in Frankfurt for 5 years.
Wow.
And then I moved to Moscow for 2 years, set up an office there for an offshore financial advice company. I worked with them for all in all around 10 years or more, yeah. And I spent 2 years in Moscow, moved down to Vienna, Bratislava, Poland, these kind of places.
Well, that sounds like an incredible adventure.
Yeah, it was exactly that, an adventure. It was when we got to Poland, my wife says it's time to go home, so we came home. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least, you know.
Brilliant.
Moscow, incredible place, but there you go.
So I believe I've not been there, but I know a friend of mine used to get there quite a lot. And so when you were growing up, is this the sort of thing you foresaw yourself doing, or did you have a different path planned?
Not at all, not at all. Like most people, I left school. I wasn't particularly bright at school. I suppose you can class me as a late developer. I mean, some people will say I'm still developing, which we all are, of course.
Absolutely.
The thing is, I have no idea. I grew up in a butchery environment. My father was a butcher for 40 years. I get a lot of my work ethics and things like that from his parents, and he was a grafter. And so I was, every holiday, I was in the butcher's shop doing different things and whatever we had to do. It was a family business. And I didn't know what to do. Actually, I looked at 2 or 3 different options. Horticulture was one thing, catering was one thing, and butchery, of course. I ended up being a chef. I went into catering. I went to technical college and became a chef. Worked in that industry for about 3 or 4 years, no more than that, maybe 4 or 5 years. Ended up for a short period of time as head chef at the Beefeater at Batley. Not many people remember that, but it was these days it was a glorified steakhouse.
Brilliant.
Left there to go and work abroad doing catering, but I got a job in the meantime, just boning bacon out at the bacon factory and earning more money than I'd ever earned catering. So that became a new career. And from then on, that was very interesting time in my life, and you know, influenced quite a bit of things there. I moved then into the family business. I became a butcher, working hand in hand with my father for 6 years. That was good and interesting. And then a book came available with, as you do at the CIS.
Right.
A young man, basically, with a family who were looking to obviously build something. And at the time, the supermarkets were hitting the small retail outlets quite hard. So I opted to jump ship to insurance, and that's where that's been.
Wonderful. What a great story. What a varied career. And so looking at Slaiyburn specifically, what, as you've grown, as you said, you've grown fairly quickly. What are some of the biggest issues and challenges you've had to overcome over the last 6 years?
The most important thing, and I think all your people you'll speak to who are in the similar kind of position to me, is people. You need good people. You need sound people, people who are honest, open as you are, who log into your particular areas and beliefs and where you want to go. And once you've got the right people in place, then it becomes very easy. Well, nothing's very easy, and maybe that's wrong. It's very easy compared to not having the right people in place, because that is impossible.
Absolutely, I agree. It's not easy, but it's way easier than having difficult people, isn't it?
The other angle is keeping them.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like a lot of people, you know, like my journey to where I am today. A lot of people you'll speak to of a similar age will have a similar kind of journey, I guess. But people leaving school now and leaving at university, God knows what their journey is going to look like, you know, and where they're going to be. You know, you have to plan for things, same as everybody else. But, you know, I think each generation comes along with challenges, then they all have their own challenges, you know. When we first got married, interest rates were at 15, 16, 17%, you know, but earnings were different as well. Here you are, we've been in a very low interest area for the many years, and all of a sudden we're up at 5 and 6%, and everybody's sweating, which is true, you
Yep,
know,
I get that.
and we have to help them the best way we can, and that's
Yep,
part of our role as well.
brilliant. Brilliant. It's interesting you mentioned people and you know the challenge of people is what I'm finding now working with lots of businesses is I've formed the belief that most businesses for a very long period of time have always had a significant budget to find new clients, marketing, and keep them, you know, client retention. And I feel we need the same amount of effort and investment in finding great people and keeping them. You know, it's no longer a employers market; it's very much an employees market now, I think.
Definitely, yeah. I think we're a little bit niche in what we're looking for, and there's not many people we come across with certain skill sets
Right.
that we are looking for that we can bring into the business. And we are, you know, like every other business, we are looking not to stand still, to go forward.
Yep.
And, you know, largely that depends a great deal on the type of people and personnel we get.
Yep.
And, you know, you recruit from within the industry, but, you know, that can bring bad habits, you know,
Yep.
and different attitudes. And once you've established a team, you know, you don't want anybody coming into that team who's going to be disruptive in any shape or form, or doesn't share the same values as you do, you know.
Yep. No, makes absolute sense. And you know, obviously the challenges you faced are mainly around, you know, finding and keeping great people. What would you say you've learned about growing a business in these last few years?
The last few years, I think that beauty's only skin deep, if you like, in some ways. Some people are fickle. Some people say one thing and do another. Everybody's an idiot until they're proven otherwise. I was going to say something else then, but there you go, we're on there. Yeah, I think you've got to take everybody at face value. You can't judge a book by its cover. You know,
Yep.
that's good and bad. You
Yep.
know, and you know, some people told me once, so you treat everybody like you would like to be treated yourself. Yeah, and I think that is a great management tool, you know.
I agree.
And that's the way we have an outlook on things. You know, so that's in the last few years. But going back, there's a lot of people you learn from along life's journey as well.
Yes.
And you learn from bad people as you learn from good people. You know,
yeah,
it's
well,
not
not to
all
do.
about taking on the good stuff. You've got to learn, you know, how people behave like they do and all this kind of things, and the little
Absolutely.
scams and shams and things like that goes on, so you can identify them when you come across them. And unfortunately, there's a fair number of those about.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I love the idea you learn what not to do from some people as
Oh,
much as what
absolutely.
you do. Yeah.
I look back at some of the managers I've worked for, and there's not been many bad ones. When I first started out in catering, I worked at this industrial unit, and there were a manager there, and I used to be a happy-go-lucky, cheeky chappy, and I make no apologies for that. I was probably a handful, but he used to come out and physically kick me.
Oh my God.
And this was a manager, yeah. And I used to go around the kitchen whistling my head off, and it used to drive him mad. So, you know, that did nothing to motivate me, as you can imagine. But
No.
that was that. But I've worked for some very good managers as well. George Wallage at CIS was a good one. A manager a boss that had a good influence on me, apart from my father, of course, who was my boss, was a guy called Bob Mosley, who he was the boss of West Yorkshire Baking Company when I worked there.
Right.
I went there as a bacon bone. I left as a rep, going out selling and stuff for lads and all that kind of things. He was a good influence. And when I was working abroad, a guy called Jimmy Sproats, took me under his wing a little bit and helped me a great deal. And he was a good manager and a very good manager, and he taught me a lot of things as well. So, but good and bad.
Brilliant, love it. And have you picked up any favourite quotes or sayings on the way that you might have learned from them, or you've picked up yourself that you kept?
Well, I just said, don't judge a book by its
Those
cover.
covers, yeah.
Hard work never killed anybody.
Yeah.
Well, whichever job you do, there's always some washing up to do.
Oh, whichever job you do, that's really interesting.
So
I like that. Yeah, that's really interesting, especially in a sales oriented role, when one of the challenges most of my clients have is getting salespeople to finish the job of doing the paperwork, all those sorts of things. That's really
exactly. Well, the thing is, you're right there, but I don't think of ourselves as being salespeople. I think we're here to help, advise, guide. A lot of people these days, the challenges that going forward are the internet, of course. That's always there. Being able to adapt to technology, that's another great thing. People finding things that they can go online and do their own pension, their own savings, their own whatever. That's absolutely fine until they get into trouble, and we're coming across that a little bit. The scams from abroad, people ringing up saying, "Do you want to invest in gold?" and all this kind of stuff. We get a lot of that. Well, we don't get as much as that as we used to do, but it's still there. So those are the challenges. And I think the best way we've grown being able to grow our business is through people who are satisfied with us and satisfied clients, and they refer us on. And that really is the best form of advertising.
100%. Couldn't agree more. It's the highest conversion rate you can get is great referrals. And Clive, what would you say you've learned about yourself throughout your journey and your careers?
Well, other people used to tell me this, and I've learned it, that I don't have a lot of patience. So I'm very intolerant of people. I'm too quick to judge people sometimes, yeah, I've got my own shortcomings. I'm a bit tight as well, but there you go.
a good Yorkshireman.
Yeah. I also think I can see broader aspects of particular situations, and that comes with experience. And I think when you're talking to people, and if you're a people person, which you have to be really in our business, you learn things about what people are looking to achieve and look at the broader things that maybe they've not really thought about, and what I can't give you any examples, but really in any context you can see the broader picture, and I think that's what I do.
I think it is a feature of, let's call them entrepreneurial people that are great, is that ability to get the big picture, not just the focus. And it's the ability to see the big picture and communicate it well to our teams is so important.
I like to think I get on with most people all the time, but not everybody all the time. And if you're getting on with everybody all the time, you're doing something wrong, aren't you? I was at a meeting last night actually, and with our local community. I'm involved with the community association where I live, and we managed to get something pushed through, which had been batting on for a while. And I think I probably upset one or two people while we're doing that. But if the end justifies the means, then there you go. Not always. Not always,
no. But I get absolutely get your point. Sometimes it's about taking action, isn't it? It's getting stuff done. Is so key. So what does the future look like, Clive, for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
Retiring,
right? Fair dues, yeah.
Retiring is a challenge.
Yeah.
We have a business. We're bringing in some partners, which is great. We're also expanding the business as well, bringing in some clients, banks as well. So it's a challenge. It's an exciting time.
Yep.
It's great, but
Yeah.
I'm at an age where I'm thinking, which is why I'm bringing in other partners,
Yep.
where I might be maybe in a few years' time stepping backwards and stepping
Right.
away. And so that's a challenge going forward. I want to continue Slaiyburn in some shape or form, whether it's bought out by another company eventually, or whether the client people that within it who
Yep.
have helped me progress to where we are, they take ownership of it and go along. That's another option. So there are challenges ahead. And also, you know, what it is, and I'm sure a lot of your business people you speak to are in my position will have felt this, is about letting go of something that you've started
Yep.
and built up, and there's a kind of an emotional tie there that you want to leave your baby in the arms of somebody who's going to nurture it rather than scrap it, you know?
Absolutely.
And then there's the other physical or mental kind of aspect to this is, and this is what a lot of people go through to various degrees. Some people it doesn't bother them, but there's the actual retirement themselves itself. You know, I mean, what you're gonna do when you stop work? How are you gonna fill your day? And of course, most people when they do retire, have got the days filled. They can't remember. You know, they're wondering how they might ever manage to work. You know.
Yep.
There's that aspect of it as well. But some people take like a duck to water, and some people are back at work within 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned planning right at the start, and it's so key from my perspective. I've helped quite a few people now create businesses that work without them, so they could exit whether they sold or kept. And if we don't know what the other side of that looks like, then I've seen it actively people sabotage the process because
exactly.
they fear it because they don't know what it looks like. And you know, you mentioned earlier about planning your financial future. It's really important to plan our post-retirement future about what we want to do, because if we don't know, if we're driven people like I'm sure you are and many people I work with are, going from being driven to get things done to what feels like doing nothing is just not something people want to do.
Well, I have a few hobbies which I'm hoping are going to keep me busy, and I'm looking forward to doing.
Brilliant.
But you're right in that I can understand why people would sabotage it. I think people generally are fearful of the unknown and fearful of change to a degree. The people who get on embrace a change and look for the opportunities rather than the threats. So I'm looking for other opportunities, if you like.
Brilliant. And interestingly enough, the other thing that very few people would even think would happen, but I have seen on occasion when the business is passed on to somebody else, is that because the old owners resent the fact that the new owners run it better than they did.
Well, I hope that's the case. I really do. I want them to embrace this and take it to the next level. I don't want them to carry on the way I've done. I sit here and I'm a dinosaur, really, compared to the people who are working with us in social media and all this kind of things, and looking for this and looking for that and doing. Oh, God knows what they are. Little films for this, little films for Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And one of our advisors particularly embraced that and has done very well out of it, you know. And so what is interesting, you look at the ways that different people work towards a common goal, you know. Each of them want to be successful and they want to be able to you know, but they all do it in a roundabout different ways. You know, we've got traditional IFAs who would basically build a client bank and sitting on it and working that. You've got new guys who come from, one of the guys come from abroad. He's brought business with him from abroad. We've got, as I say, a person who's doing a lot of networking, doing a lot of social media and getting stuff out of it in that sense. And then you've got everybody else in between as well. So
Brilliant, brilliant. And what I'm keen to know what you would say to anyone that was thinking of going into business right now.
Business generally, or this business?
Business in general, yeah. What would be your top advice for someone that was thinking about it right now?
Well, you've got to have passion. You've got to be enthusiastic about it. You've got to go after it like there's no tomorrow. You've got to work hard, and I think sometimes it's good. We used to say you can take a horse to the trough, but you can't make it drink. There's another saying for you.
Yep.
In that, you know, sometimes people are reluctant to take advice, but I think for a young person to have a mentor of some description is a good thing. Somebody who's been there and done it, or who is there and doing it. And I think generally, if you come across somebody like that, and they are keen and they are enthusiastic and they get the word about that, what they're about, most people want to help you. Most people want to help to get you where you want to be, and they'll go out the way to help you. So I would I think the best thing you can do is for a businessman is to go out there and sell yourself. And see where it takes you.
Brilliant. And if you started again, is there anything significant that you do differently?
I would have started younger.
Yeah, great.
I would have liked to be where I am now 20 years ago. Unfortunately, that can't happen, of course. But if I was where I am 20 years ago and knowing what I know now, then I don't know. I think I'd have got a lot further, but that's just me being big-headed. But don't know.
Brilliant. No, it's great. It's great. I think the advice of starting early is something I've heard a few times in doing these interviews, and it's just, you know, when you know that you can do it, it's just, you know, we spend a lot of time not being sure we can do it, and then but. And finally, Clive, it's been fascinating. What would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so?
Follow your dreams. And don't be frightened.
Brilliant. Love it.
That's about as much as you can do.
That sounds brilliant. Well, Clive, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really fascinating, and it's great to learn, you know, some of the things you've achieved, and your philosophy on business and life has been wonderful. And for anyone watching that'd like to get in touch with you or Slaiyburn, what would be the easiest way to do that?
Well, they can email info@slaiyburn.co.uk. They can email me, which is clive.berry@slaiyburn.uk. They can telephone 01484971212. They can I don't know what else you want to write to them. Whatever, send a pigeon, whatever, you know. But the thing is, you know, you'll find us if you want to find us. Look at our website, which has been upgraded at this moment in time. But that's the best way to get into it. And if they want a job, and there's any IFAs out there, anybody in the industry who's fed up looking for something, you can get in touch as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let's hope they do, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who would love to work for and with you. So again, thanks so much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating. And
Bruce, thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
You're really welcome. Thank you.